Hey, so here is a little tutorial about the making of my really long wiener. And I've had this idea in my head for a long time to make this wiener dog stamp extra long. And you may or may not know, but my family, we have a wiener. Well, she's actually Chiweenie, but we call her Weiner. And of course, there's a million and one wiener jokes that I think we've said every wiener joke. Nice wiener, stop holding my wiener, like that, and don't be so rough with the wiener, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought for my naughty or nice card, I would make kind of a naughty, play on words about loving long wieners or something like that. So so right now I'm just making a mask for the weenie dog that I stamped, and that's because I want to put the cityscape in the background. So I've stamped the head of the wiener, and now I gotta cut him out, and that's just on a post-it note, and I'll be able to stick the post-it note on top of the stamp. So yeah, I'll just cut that out and stick it on top, and then when I stamp the cityscape, it won't stamp on top of the hot dog. So, don't you love it when you make mistakes on camera? You're about to see me kind of misstamp the cityscape. And this was just the beginning of a long line of mistakes that happened on this card. It was so funny because I don't usually go into a card with a plan, but woo, when I do, man, these mistakes, they just keep happening. I should just wing it like I usually do. But anyway, I managed to restamp it, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm just going to stamp the rest of the city there. And then I'm going to stamp what's called generation stamping, if you don't know. It's what happens when you stamp a stamp once, and then you stamp it again, and it's lighter. So the effect is kind of like there's going to be the city in the foreground, which is dark, and then the city in the background, which is light. So it's actually something that I planned out that actually worked. Surprising, shocking with this card. Yeah, you'll see my mistakes later. It's pretty hilarious. Anyway, so just stamp some of those buildings there. I kind of wish I had a whole bunch of different cityscapes, so it wasn't the same thing over and over again, but it turned out kind of nice. So there I go, first generation stamp, and another second generation. And you kind of want to just vary it, put it in different places on the card. And then remove the mask, and there, you can see the wiener there doesn't have the city on his face, so that's cool. So now to make the wiener extra long, I'm just going to take a pen and just kind of freehand draw his body extra long. And then my plan is to go on the inside with the wiener, stamp his behind, and draw the long wiener connecting it. That's the plan anyway. So here I am just making sure the stamp is clean, because what you didn't just see was a mistake. Tried to stamp the back end, but the front end was still slightly inked, so I'm being like super careful. And instead of doing the post-it thing, which is, a safety guard, you can just mask off the front of the stamp while you stamp the back end, I just kind of went straight down on the back end. That's usually how I roll. I'm not usually so like precise and it's going to be clean, but sometimes that bites you in the butt. So just making sure that I stamp this stamp at the same height as the front, because when you flip it open, it's a cool effect if the dog is actually at the same height as at the front. And then the eye doesn't have to kind of move and adjust. You'll see that at the end, how that works out. Yeah, and there his butt is, nice and crisp, before I mess it up, but whatever. So just drawing the long body, again freehand. And this is, I'm using a Copic multi-liner, but I was going to use Copics, but then I decided against it, and I actually just colored the Weiner dog with some chalk pastels. I didn't want to have to deal with the Copic markers leaking through the paper, so I just did it with pastels, and it came out pretty nice with a nice soft brown look. So that was fun. I was happy with that. And then, so the reason that there's no hot dog on the front is because, well, I made a big boo-boo on the actual card. And so you can see the top left, yeah, there I go. Okay, so I cut off the front, and then I'm just going to, well, you'll see later how I put the card together. So when you open it, it continues. I'm just erasing the pencil. And that's that for now. So I'm going to show you kind of the finished product, and when I was stamping the sentiment on the original card, I made a mistake again. So this is the finished card with the image on the front mounted on some red cardstock and a little bit of pattern paper, and the inside, the Weiner was raised. So I actually like how it turned out, all of those mistakes aside. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my extra long Weiner card, and I hope you participate in the Naughty or Nice challenge. It would be great to see what you cook up in your naughty little head. So thanks for stopping by.